In today's update, we're going to focus on Bitcoin's price action through the lens of its phases in the parabolic upside phase, because historically we tend to see price discovery uptrends and also corrections, and we'll be talking about 2021, 2016 through the lens of these sub-phases, and we'll be talking about which sort of phase are we in, are we nearing a correction, and how does that tie in with altcoin season metrics, Dogecoin, Ethereum, also coming up. So subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. Like this video if you enjoy content like this going forward, and let's dive right into it. But before we dive in, a quick message from our sponsor. Our sponsor for today's video is bitfinex, and they are a really great crypto exchange for you to consider for your daily crypto trading and investing. They are a no KYC, no VPN futures exchange, and their liquidity is on par with the top exchanges. Users can trade over 250 trading pairs with up to 125x leverage without restriction. And to celebrate our partnership with bitfinex, we're running a very special offer. From November 27th until December 7th, you can sign up using my link in the description down below and deposit USDT Tether to get 20% rebate. The rewards will be distributed on the very next working day, and for more information, check out the link in the description down below. Thank you very much, bitfinex, for sponsoring this episode. Let's dive right into the Bitcoin update here. We're currently in week 5.5. We're midway through week 5, and historically in week 6 in 2021 we saw a 16% pullback. In week 8 we saw an 8% pullback. In week 8 in 2016 we saw a 30% pullback. In week 6 to 7, we saw a tremendous 75% pullback. So this isn't going to happen in this cycle, but it just goes to show that week 6, 7 in 2013 are problematic. Week 8 is problematic in 2016, and week 6 to 8 are problematic weeks for Bitcoin's price action. So seeing as we're 5.5 weeks into the first price discovery uptrend, week 6, 7, and 8, there is a bit of concern. Historically, we tend to see quite a bit of pulling back in Bitcoin's price action into that first price discovery correction. Sometimes we see a 16%, which isn't very deep. It's quite a shallow pullback, but 2016 has shown us that 30% corrections can happen, and this one's a deep one in 2013. I don't think it's going to repeat, but it just shows to us that week 6, 7 can be retrace weeks, and we're getting close to that time. We're seeing money flow in altcoins, we're seeing alt season, fantastic rallies in altcoin valuations, so that's great to see, but we can't rally forever. We can't just rally vertically. We need a bit of a pullback, because we know that pullbacks just like this one can enable further upside. 2016 is a really good indicator of that. Price discovery correction of some 30%, and then fantastic upside. There will be another price discovery correction in the future, but then further upside as well. And so it's important to ride these waves and prepare for them. It's going to be a good idea to have stable coins and cash reserves to dollar cost average into the market when we see a pullback. And so really important not to be FOMOing into the really fantastic, extraordinary rallies that we're seeing in altcoins price action. So something to really keep in mind going forward. But when it comes to other assets, we're seeing Ethereum potentially on the cusp of a breakout. It got a weekly close and retest right over here. Quite a volatile retest, like I mentioned on X, Twitter. This was a volatile retest, and we got that picture perfect. Historically, we've rejected from this point, so that weekly close is quite pivotal and historic, because we're no longer rejecting from here like we've done over the past two occasions. Over the past several months, we're actually turning this region of resistance into new support, and historically this can enable further upside. So turning 3,650 into support is going to enable a move into 4,000, and the reason that this is so important is because this overall 3,700 region is a new range for Ethereum. So if we can turn this into new support, and we've seen upside wicking beyond here in the past where Ethereum wasn't really able to do that, turn this level into support, it could rally into 4,000 and even 4,300, because this is the range. And so we could see some consolidation here. So what does this mean for alt season potentially going forward? If we're able to reclaim this as support, Ethereum should be able to rally to 4,300. but maybe it does reject from there. We've seen rejection from there in the past. And if we form a range here, then Ethereum would be consolidating, which would facilitate fantastic money flow into altcoins. So there is scope for an Ethereum range going forward. But when does that happen exactly? Does that happen very soon? Or is this going to happen in the next hype cycle? Really depends on how Ethereum positions itself. This is the monthly time frame, so this could still take a month or two to play out. But Ethereum is on the cusp of potentially breaking out. It just needs to solidify this weekly close just like this to confirm a breakout, and then Ethereum is going to be in an uptrend. We've seen Bitcoin rally quite nicely, and now it might be Ethereum's time to do that. And if it's able to reclaim this level also as support, then it's going to be kickstarting a rally across the range and potentially building a new range for where it could rally to the range high and then consolidate in a sinusoidal manner, enabling money flow into mid caps and small caps as well, which is going to only add further fuel to the fire that is alt season. So something to keep in mind going forward. But when it comes to Dogecoin is struggling with this resistance at around 45 cents for now. Not too big of a rejection here, but if Bitcoin starts to pull back a bit more as part of its first price discovery correction, then one of the key levels to focus on when it comes to Dogecoin's price action is obviously going to be that last major resistance that Dogecoin wasn't able to break in 2021, but broke with ease in this cycle. So old resistances tend to turn into new supports. So any pullbacks into that level could be a retest attempt for Dogecoin going forward. But also we have a 4-month resistance right over here across 2021 going very close into 2022. This was a 4-month resistance which we also broke really well and really easily, so old resistances could turn into new support. So essentially these two levels of 33 cents, 34 cents really for Dogecoin, and also 28 cents, any dips, any pullbacks into these levels, that would essentially turn major resistances into new support, if at all necessary, because Dogecoin might not be able to give us that in this market. It would need to coincide with a price discovery correction for Bitcoin to enable a market-wide pullback, and it would be clear for each of these two levels for Dogecoin that those would be the key supports to respect going forward. And when it comes to altcoin market cap, it's phenomenal how we've seen this falling wedge breakout occur. We saw altcoin market cap turn this level into new support, weekly close and retest, and then here again, weekly close and retest. It's just been ascending level by level by level, rallying all the way to very close to new all-time highs in this cycle at this light blue range. And we've seen light blue levels rejections right over here in the past. We've overextended beyond here, and we've also done this overextension here as well. In the past, we'd hang about here, but we'd reject. And in the previous cycle, of course, we rejected into a bear market. There is scope for a bit of a rejection from here, but it would be much shallower. So it would just showcase to us that 425 billion isn't going to be a really strong point of rejection going forward, because it's weakening as a resistance. So maybe it does actually maybe provide a bit of a pullback just to indicate that this is weakening as resistance. It would be a shallower pullback going forward. Maybe we retest these March 2024 highs once again as a new support at worst. And if we're able to do that and then challenge 425 billion once again, then it would probably be a really good chance and high likelihood of breaking to new all-time highs, because in every cycle, altcoin market cap has simply broken to new all-time highs and price discovery every time. Every bull market, new altcoin market cap all-time high. And so Bitcoin dominance is going to be fueling that altcoin market cap rally to new all-time high. But for the time being, we've lost this technical uptrend dating to early 2023. So it's going to be retesting this 53% level as support. But really important to be careful about this sort of situation where we reverse after breaking that and go back into the range, because this is still a really young monthly candle. So this could still end up as a wick by the end of the month to reclaim the technical uptrend line, to reclaim 57% as support, to essentially reclaim this macro range. So lots can still happen here. At the moment, this is an extended altcoin window, which is fantastic to see. And from this level here, maybe we have a little bit more left to go and enjoy, maybe even overextending that if we're looking at this sort of downside wick here. So still a few percentage points that Bitcoin dominance could drop down. But of course, afterwards, it would be Bitcoin season, especially if Bitcoin breaks out, and especially if Bitcoin actually retraces into a price discovery correction. That's also when we'd see Bitcoin become a bit more dominant. And so this isn't necessarily a trend line break that we can rely on long term, because this candle can still very easily reclaim this technical uptrend line and produce a downside wick that's going to be quite volatile. We've seen downside wicks like this in and around this region in the past, and so producing a downside wick just like this, that would actually reclaim the technical uptrend. So really important to take it with a grain of salt, take it with a pinch of salt. This technical uptrend has lost itself for the time being, but it is only December 4th, and we could still, over the next few weeks, have this Bitcoin dominance candle reclaim here. So at the moment, we are seeing, well, I was mentioning that this would be a best case scenario for altcoins, and we're getting an even better scenario for altcoins. So even more so would be really fantastic. But I think that would be the maximum that we can see in terms of an alt season. So if we're thinking about this in terms of what we've already seen, then maybe we have a little bit more additional upside in altcoins, and then maybe things do tie in with the Bitcoin price discovery correction over the next week 2, 3, because week 6 and week 8 in Bitcoin tend to be problematic for Bitcoin's price action and the price discovery correction, and we're in week 5.5. So something to really consider, as we're already near old all-time highs for altcoin market cap. Potentially need to see a bit of a shallower retrace here to showcase that this is a weakening resistance. We're potentially seeing Bitcoin dominance run out on its pullback to potentially rebound as well. And how does that all tie in with that Bitcoin price correction? Because we've seen altcoin valuations rally up, so maybe Bitcoin season is going to return, but not necessarily in an uptrend. Really interesting to see, because that price discovery correction is looming large. It'll be interesting to see how is Bitcoin going to continue to behave in terms of 100K. Is it going to be a resistance? If it continues to be a resistance, then maybe that rejection takes place from 100K below. But if we break beyond 100K, then maybe 100K would become a support on a potential pullback. Lots to consider as we navigate this market. Subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future to stay abreast of everything going on in the crypto market through level-headed analysis. I'm Rekt Capital. Like this video if you enjoyed content like this going forward, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Speak to you soon.